Panini's QC issues, platinum card breaks doing dodgy things again, it looks like. We've got some interesting things from the National. Let's get straight into this week's news video. Now, the first thing I want to touch on is this QC issue with Panini UFC Select 2022. This popped up with a group breaker here in Australia. I believe this is the Sugar Sean O'Malley patch auto. As you can see by the photo, there is no auto on the card. There's also no serial number. So it's a pretty cool one of one for the person that got this in the card. Now, personally, I'd be very happy if I got this card myself because it's now a true one of one. This would be really cool to try and get Sean O'Malley to sign in person with an on-card auto because this is sort of like, you know, that unique centerpiece that we'd all love to have in our PCs in our collection. Now, I'm not going to talk too much into specific issues with Panini's QC. This looks like it was maybe a sample card or something along those lines that somehow slipped into the retail release. Like I said, Panini's QC is a bit of a dead horse at the moment. It happens so often. We've spoken about it so often, but it just speaks to, again, some of the issues they're facing. And I'm really curious to see. The reason I want to flag this is because I think it's pretty cool. I would have loved to have got this card. So I'm very curious to get your thoughts as a collector, what you would have done if you got this yourself. Would you have, maybe try to contact Panini and try to get a replacement? Personally, I wouldn't. I think it's an awesome thing to have in your PC. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, the next thing I want to touch on is something that Sports Card Radio flagged in their video from today. Now, everybody's favorite group breakers, platinum card breaks. Obviously, if you recall, they did the whole box swap, card swap, redemption swap on the video a few months ago that I spoke about. Looks like they've had another unfortunate issue with NT. What happens is basically this person on the break goes to open the box, rips the seal off. He goes and cuts the seal, very clearly watching the seal was already cut. The guy doesn't realize that the seal was already opened. And then when he goes to burst up in the box, he realizes that the first seal wasn't cut. Sorry, he doesn't realize the first seal wasn't cut. He cuts the second one, realizes that the second one was already cut. Then goes, hang on a minute. And then you can see there's some packs in here that are obviously not NT NFL. So this is an interesting one because so many breakers these days don't pay attention to what they're opening. So this guy very clearly wasn't paying attention. It took him until he got the third seal before he realized that this box was already reopened and resealed. So it's a bit shocking that sort of went unnoticed. And a lot of people are sort of hating on platinum card breaks here. Like, I'm not sure if they were aware. Maybe they were. G walks in, starts laughing about it. He's like, oh, you're lucky you got it on camera. G's obviously the notorious guy that looked like he did the box swap in the last video when we spoke about these guys. This guy on camera, I think if he, knew that the box was already tampered with, he maybe would have made a bit more of a hoo-ha when he went to cut the first seal. But this guy was like so oblivious, didn't notice. So I'm going to cut him some slack. I'm not sure where this issue occurred. This is the kind of stuff that you're going to start seeing a lot more frequently, in my opinion, because there's so much money to be made by ripping people off with boxes that these scammers are going to try and do whatever they can to try and make your money back. And so many people don't pay attention to sealed wax. That sealed wax can be scammed. They're too trustworthy when it comes to this sort of stuff. So be very careful where you're spending your money because this stuff is becoming more and more frequent. Please check out Sports Card Radio's video. I'm not going to play the rest of the video for you here. Please check it out. Put a description down in the comments below. Now, something else happened recently with regards to packs being swapped in a pack. This was out at the National with DSS Sports Cards. They did a box break of 2012 Prizm NBA. This is the first year Prizm, if I remember correctly. It's a very, very expensive box of cards. They opened it on camera, and as you can see, there's Austin Powers in there instead of actual Prizm packs. So it goes to the same point that I just made. You've got these breakers being caught out by these scammers out there, and they're not paying enough attention to make sure that these boxes aren't tampered with. And I think, like I said, we're going to start seeing a lot more of this because this is where the real money is to be made, right? Sealed wax is really expensive, so the scammers are going to try and get more and more elaborate. And it's just really unfortunate. This guy's just very lucky that he caught it on camera. Look how you can see he's like absolutely gutted, disgusted in the video, as he would be. Hopefully they can get their money back because by all reports, DSS Sports Cards are a great bunch of guys, right? They do really cool content, really cool box breaks based on what I've heard. It's just unfortunate, right? And to be their customers and be ripped off like this it's just really unfortunate. And I think we're going to see more of it because, like I've said in previous videos, you've got all these box breakers out there now that, the barrier to entry to become a box breaker is really small. You go to shops, you buy a box of cards, you got a camera on your phone, you record yourself, you sell your spots, you make some money. And so many of these guys have like really cowboy setups, like I've said in the past, right? They have inappropriate camera setups, so sometimes the box leaves the camera, sometimes things are not captured correctly. So these scammers are probably trying to bank on that and bank on the fact that these breakers are trying to move really quickly as well because they want to bust as much product in one night as possible because it means they can maximize their profits, right? So I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of this for that reason. They're trying to take advantage of that. So it's just really unfortunate, but like I said, I think it's going to become more and more prevalent because there's a lot of money to be made there. So just be very careful where you're spending your money. You almost have to assume and take the position that the box you're buying, if you're buying sealed wax, take the position that the box is fake and then work your way up from there to try and get comfort to make sure that it's correct, right? Because so many guys don't actually pay attention to the fact that things could be resealed, okay? And you need to be paying attention to that sort of stuff because Like I said, there's a lot of money to be made in that area, so people are going to try and capitalize on that. Scammers are going to try and capitalize on that. So just be very, very wary. When you do see stuff like this, please flag it. Please speak up, because it's just really unfortunate. We need to try and do better as a hobby at educating others as to how you can identify resealed wax. I'm very curious as to whether, Baseball Card Exchange would have picked this up. Like, I don't know if they would have, to be honest, because they've had numerous issues in the past, like I've just touched on in my most recent video. I think things like this speak to why we need a proper authority when it comes to authenticating wax within the hobby. We need a proper individual to come in, whether it's a service that Panini offers themselves, right? Panini would be silly to not offer this. You could send sealed wax to Panini and they'll tell you whether it's fake or not. Like, they're the ones that manufacture, they should have experts there. Do you know what I mean? That's the sort of voice we need in the hobby, especially when these boxes are starting to get so expensive, because I think you cannot rely on BBC to do this, because they've shown they can't in the past. It's just very scary. A lot more of this is happening, so just please keep an eye out. Now, one thing that's really cool within the hobby in the last couple of days is this Honus Wagner SGC 2 has broken the record for the most expensive sports card of all time. It sold for $7.25 million, which is freaking crazy. Like, I'd never be able to afford anything like this, but I think it's really cool when you see these high net worth individuals buy this sort of stuff, because these cards, this card just looks phenomenal, in my opinion. Even though it's an SGC 2, it looks really, really nice. And it's just really cool to see this guy spend this money and basically appreciate this being so rare, right? It's like comic books. When you see really high-end comic books sell, like, the first appearance of Spider-Man in Amazing Fantasy 15 as an example, or the first appearance of Superman, it's just really cool to see somebody find that in the absolute best condition. It's trading cards are a little bit different because they're much easier to damage, but find them in the absolute best condition, then keep them, and then actually appreciate them. It's actually getting in the hands of somebody that actually truly enjoys what they're looking at. I think it's really cool to see that. But one thing that's really interesting that I think Ken Golden has a bit of a play on here is that this is not going to last for much longer being the highest sports card of all time. As we touched on last week, this 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle, it's his rookie card, is currently sitting at $7.32 million with 22 days to go on Heritage Auction. This will very clearly break that record. But the reason why I touched on Ken Golden is because these auction houses always like to sort of one-up each other, right? They want to be the best, and the way they can be the best is say, well, my auction house sold the most expensive card of all time, therefore we're the best, we're the cool guys. And the reason why I mentioned Ken Golden a bit earlier, because it's no coincidence that you saw that Mickey Mantle PSA 10 on display at the National. It was sent in for a reholder because it was in an older slab. It's now in a new slab. I'm not going to be surprised if you see that PSA 10 Mickey Mantle get in the hands of Ken Golden and it goes on his auction house and it beats the price of whatever this 9.5 sells for. The fact that this got put up for auction and then that one showed up at the same time is a big, big thing, and it's a good hint that we're going to maybe see that get listed very, very shortly. So please keep an eye out for that. So that's sort of it for this week's news video. I hope you liked the points. Please share your thoughts down in the comments below, whether you would have kept that Sugar Sean O'Malley, whether you would have turned it back into Panini. Personally, I would have kept it, like I said a little bit earlier. Let me know if you've seen any other box breaks recently or boxes be ripped that have had packs replaced, right? Because it's, like I said, something that's very, very scary. Boxes are very expensive. I'm going to start seeing a lot more of them. So please share your thoughts on that down in the comments below. Please also reach out to me if you've seen anything cool that has happened out at the National that you think I should be aware of. I've started watching some really, really cool card show vlogs from the likes of, Card Collector 2, Roth Cards, Mojo Sports, a bunch of others. I know a lot of these guys get a lot of hate from many different angles, but I always really enjoy watching these card show vlogs because someone like me here in Australia, I can't attend the National myself, so I sort of like live vicariously through them. It looks like a lot of fun. If you went to the National, please share your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know what you did, if you picked up a really cool card, how you found it. Always keen to have a chat with you all, as you guys know. As always, thank you for watching. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.